Hey kids, welcome back to Uncle Fezzi's Mad Lab. What's Uncle Fezzi up to today? Well, it's really fucking hot here in southeastern Pennsylvania for the last 5 months. We actually had some record-breaking temperatures, and my buddy stopped by about, I don't know, well, I'll be honest with you, it was about a month and a half ago. He bought a new shit box. Just happened to be a 2001 Ford Explorer. Well, truth be told, I'm kind of an expert on those. I used to work on police cars, and that was a very popular police car in the early 2000s. That's neither here nor there to this story. But one of the things over the last, I'm going to say pretty much my entire career, is that automotive manufacturers have always wanted some way to make a way to put cars together quicker, faster, and easier and cheaper, right? And I don't blame them. I don't. Believe it or not, even though I have to work on them, and I curse every single German engineer that ever existed. Manana Sven. At the end of the day, cars are built to be put together, not taken apart or repaired. It's just that fucking simple, right? That's why I made the big bucks. So, now I've done this job in the past. I know I have because I've done this job in the past. When you replace an air conditioning compressor, this is the old compressor, and this thing is grenaded. It was dry as the Sahara Desert. Well, let me put it this way. It didn't have any oil in it. And it was locked up tighter than a duck's ass. So, it was causing problems. Locked up compressors, problem. The clutch was actually working, but the compressor itself was locked up solid. When you buy a new compressor, you get a new evaporator dryer, or a new receiver dryer. That's what this thing is. You always wanted to know what this was. Inside of here is desiccant. Now, this thing had this fitting here, which this is just a nut and a bolt, right? So, because this is the car side, okay? So this screws into the car. When they install the engine system, the engine unit, there's a floppy hose. I don't have the car here. The guy that I did the work for was not a fan of being on camera, and I think he's fairly convinced that the camera's going to steal his soul. So, we're going to get back to this in a second. Now, in front of me, I have every single tool that I've ever purchased over the last 30 years, give or take a few, to quick disconnect, spring clip disconnect hoses from air conditioning, fuel lines, hydraulic lines, whatever kind of quick connect line that you have. Well, except this one. Now this is a Blue Point set. These are for Jiffy type connectors that are used on General Motors cars, but they can also double for Fords and pipe and disconnect the lines. Fuel lines are usually put together that way. Where am I going with this? I'm going to my 3D printer. Now, in the past, I have taken one of these connections off using a piece of sheet metal or aluminum flashing, or you could even use a beer can if you need to. You cut it up, you make a little strip, and you slide it on top. When you slide it on there, what it does is there's a little spring that goes over the end of this, which I actually have over there. So, knowing how this thing actually works, or how it was supposed to work, I went into Fusion 360 and I designed the tool that I needed. Now, I could have gone to Napa and bought this tool, but I can promise you that it would have cost me probably $15, if not more, if they even had it, because Ford no longer uses these types of connections. So, there it is. Okay? And that's the one I think I'm missing, is the plastic one that you get from Harbor Freight, which may be the one that can actually work. I don't know. This one didn't work, which is the 3/4 inch, because this is 19 millimeters, not 3/4 of an inch, or this is 18 millimeters and not 3/4 of an inch. One way or the other, fucker didn't work, not even remotely, because this lip here is too big. So again, I go over to my handy dandy 3D printer and I printed out this tool, right, with the correct ID and a 5/1000 OD. I went in and I slid it in and whoop, pushed the spring out, which is what it's supposed to do. You can see there the spring. You look, I'll pull it back. See how the spring pops down? You push that up, it pushes the spring out of the way. You give it a little twisty, and you can pull the hose apart. Uncle Fezzy, why did you buy a 3D printer? I bought a 3D printer because when it got to be about 90 degrees yesterday, and I had exhausted every single one of the fucking things that I had sitting on this table to get this connection apart, I was able to make it. Well, that's why I bought a 3D printer. I printed this out of ABS. It took about 30 minutes. It took about 10 minutes to design it. Bing, bang, boom. I now have a tool that I am absolutely positively most likely only ever going to use once ever again. Because my Dodge does not have this type of fitting on it. My Dodge has nuts and bolts, or it has screw fittings, which I've taken apart in the past. There you go. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I am a plethora of worthless knowledge, but I also, free. Answers are free. This one, I forget what this one was for. This is another one I had to buy that wasn't part of this for some other fucking connection that I only used once. People ask me, why did I get out of the body shop mechanics industry? Well, this is why.